Secretary terms, I direct that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes.
Well, the prayer has been said and the chair taken. However, the House has not quorated yet for it to be able to commence. The Speaker has directed that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. This is as provided for in the House Standing Order number 34, paragraph 1, that at the commencement of the House business, the quorum shall be at least 50 members inside the chambers, seated and ready to kick off the business. However, if that is not met, then that means the House will have not quorated, and that would mean that the quorum bell be on. This is to alert the members of the Parliament who perhaps may be within the precincts of Parliament but yet to make their way into the chambers to do just that and join their colleagues inside the House and enable the House raise that much needed quorum for it to kick off. Remember, if that quorum is not raised at the lapse of the first 10 minutes, a further 5-minute quorum bell will be on. But if that is not achieved, then that, as per the House Standing Order, will mean that the House will be adjourned and the business that is lined up for consideration in that particular sitting will not be considered. So we believe that the members will be hastening their steps, those who may be within the precincts of Parliament, those who perhaps are yet to arrive also hasten their steps and be able to get into the chamber and join their colleagues and be able to allow the House to attain that much needed quorum for the business to commence. So we shall continue to take a look at the business that is lined up for consideration this morning. Remember, this sitting marks the second day after the House resumed from the long recess. The House Business Committee was established yesterday afternoon. That was the first sitting. And this morning, the members will be considering a few procedural motions regarding the time on debates that the members will be taking from the mover or the sponsor of the bill to those who will be seconding the leaders of the majority as well as minority, as well as the members who will be contributing in these particular bills, motions, whether it's on reports of audit committees or other committees, as well as the address by the president, which is usually an annual event, and members of Parliament or National Assembly get a time to be able to debate. So if you're just joining us, that the House is about to commence its business. The prayer has already been said and the chair taken. However, there is a quorum hitch. And the Speaker has directed that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes. Of course, this is as provided for in the House Standing Order at the commencement of the House. So what we are waiting for is for the members of National Assembly to be able to make their way inside the chambers, to be able to join their colleagues. Bills that the members of the National Assembly, once the quorum is raised, will also be able to consider this morning. The Sexual Offences Amendment Bill, a bill originating from the National Assembly, Bill number 50 of 2025 by Honorable Udgun Siad. It's coming up for first reading. This is a bill that seeks to amend the Sexual Offences Act, Cap 63A, to strengthen the legal framework governing the prosecution of sexual offences in Kenya. And the bill also seeks to ensure that offences specified under the Sexual Offences Act are adjudicated exclusively through formal judicial procedural processes. This is a bill that is coming up for first reading. This amendment is proposed to safeguard the rights of victims from processes that are repugnant to justice and morality, and also ensure that justice is administered in a manner consistent with the Constitution. The House is about to commence. The prayer has already been said and the chair taken. As we can see, the speaker already at her position. However, there is a quorum hitch. So currently is a 10-minute quorum bell that is underway, just to give room to the members of the National Assembly who could be running late, but yet to make their way into the chamber. Let's listen in to the speaker.
At times, you may stop the quorum bell. Let us proceed. Proceed. Restart.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
Majority Leader.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 11th February 2026, morning sitting. A 22nd edition of the biannual report on the status of alcohol and drug abuse control in Kenya from the Ministry of Interior, National Administration. B, reports of the Auditor General on the Kenya School of Government car loan and mortgage scheme for the year ended 30th June 2020, 30th June 2021, 30th June 2022, 30th June 2023, 2024, and 30th June 2025, and the certificates therein. C is reports of the Auditor General and financial statements for the year ended 30th June 2025, and certificates therein in respect of the following 51 organizations. The Agriculture Food Authority, AFA Loan and Mortgage Fund, the Agriculture Food Authority, Bomas of Kenya Limited, Child Welfare Society of Kenya, Commission for University Education, Commission on Revenue Allocation, Staff Car Loan Scheme Fund, Commission on Revenue Allocation, Staff Mortgage Scheme Fund, Commission on Revenue Allocation, Communication Authority of Kenya, Communications Authority of Kenya, Staff Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme Fund, the Competition Authority, Council of Governors Staff Housing Mortgage and Car Loan Scheme, Export Processing Zones Authority, the Kenya Agriculture and Livestock Research Organization, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation, Kenya Fishing Industries Corporation, Kenya Industrial Estates Limited, Kenya Medical Laboratory Technicians and Technologies Board, the Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, Kenya Medical Supplies Authority, Kenya Medical Training College, the Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Services, Kenya Ports Authority, Kenya School of Government Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme, Kenya School of Government, Kenya School of Law, Kenya Veterinary Vaccine Production Institute, Staff Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme Fund, the Kenya Veterinary Vaccine Production Institute, Kenyatta National Hospital, Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Research Hospital, Management and Supervision Fund, State Department for Cooperatives, Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, National Cereals and Produce Board Car Loan Fund Scheme, National Cereals and Produce Board, National Social Security Fund, National Youth Service Mechanical and Transport Fund, National Youth Service, New Partnership for Africa Development, Africa Peer Review Mechanism, Kenya Secretariat, Prisons Farm Revolving Fund, Prison Industries Revolving Fund, Social Health Authority Car Loan and Mortgage Scheme, Social Health Authority, Social Health Insurance Fund, South Nyanza Sugar Company Limited, Sports Kenya, State Department for Basic Education, State Department for Cooperatives, State Department for Diaspora Affairs, State Department for Trade, Technical and Vocational Education and Training Authority, and lastly, number 51, the Tea Board of Kenya. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to give notice of the following motion that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 28, this House approves the calendar of the National Assembly regular sessions for the 5th session 2026 as contained in the schedule to the order paper. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
I don't see any questions and statements on the order paper. Are there any? Sorry? Okay, so we move to the next order. I can't see any.
Order number 8, procedural motion. Limitation of debate on bills sponsored by parties or committees.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on bills sponsored by a committee, the leader of the majority party or the leader of the minority party be limited as follows: a maximum of 45 minutes for the mover in moving and 15 minutes in replying, a maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee if the bill is not sponsored by the relevant committee, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each if the bill is not sponsored by either of them, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant departmental committee in that order. Honorable Speaker, this is a procedural motion. I beg to move and request the Honorable Karemba to second.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I second.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on bills sponsored by the committee, the leader of majority or the leader of minority party be limited as follows: a maximum of 45 minutes for the mover in moving and 15 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee if the bill is not sponsored by the relevant committee, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking except the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each if the bill is not sponsored by either of them, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of majority party, the leader of minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee in that order. I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on bills sponsored by the committee, the leader of majority, the leader and the leader of minority party be limited as follows: a maximum of 45 minutes for the mover in moving and 15 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee if the bill is not sponsored by the relevant committee, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each if the bill is not sponsored by either of them, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of majority party, the leader of minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee in that order. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next motion, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order number 9. Sorry. Order number 9, procedural motion. Limitation of debate on individual members' bills.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think I went ahead of the clock
Confusing you.
before
In a
even the
rush.
order is called out.
Okay.
My apologies. And I now beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97, one of this House orders that each speech in a debate on bills not sponsored by a committee, the leader of the majority party or the leader of the minority party, be limited as follows. A maximum of 3 hours and 30 minutes with not more than 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying. A maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking except the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant departmental committee in that order. And Honorable Speaker, again being a procedural motion, I beg to move and request the member for Mwatate, the Honorable Dan Mwashako. Member for Wundanyi, the Honorable Dan Mwashako, to second.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you, Majority Leader. I want to take this opportunity to second. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on bills not sponsored by a committee, the leader of majority or the leader of minority party be limited as follows. A maximum of 3 hours and 30 minutes with not more than 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying. A maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party and the chairperson of the relevant departmental committee in that order. May I put the question? Yes. Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on bills, not the leader of majority party or the leader of minority party, be limited as follows. A maximum of 3 hours and 30 minutes with not more than 30 minutes for the mover in moving and 10 minutes in replying, a maximum of 30 minutes for the chairperson of the relevant committee, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking except the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of majority party, the leader of minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant departmental committee in that order. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, procedural motion. Limitation of debate on motions.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on any motion, including a special motion, be limited in the following manner. A maximum of 3 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover and 10 minutes for any other member speaking except the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and the priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee in that order. Honorable Speaker, again, this is a procedural motion, and I beg to move, and I wish to request the Honorable Moses Okoth Omondi, the newest member of parliament for Ugunja. Honorable Speaker, who you can note is very keen and very diligent in his work in this new session here. He was among the very first people to be here this morning. I beg to request that the Honorable Moses does second. I can see he's following in the former members, the Cabinet Secretary for Energy's footsteps, and fitting in very well. And I believe he will do a splendid job for the people of Ugunja. Honorable Moses Okoth can second.
Thank you, Madam Speaker and Majority Leader. Take this opportunity, Madam Speaker, to second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in the debate on any motion, including a special motion, be limited in the following manner. A maximum of 3 hours, with not more than 20 minutes for the mover and 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of majority party, the leader of minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant committee in that order. Thank you. I'll now put the question. Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on any motion, including a special motion, be limited in the following manner. A maximum of 3 hours, with not more than 20 minutes for the mover and 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and that priority in speaking be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, and the chairperson of the relevant departmental committee in that order. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 11, procedural motion, limitation of debate on reports of audit committees.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97 on this House orders that each speech in debate on reports of audit committees be limited as follows: a maximum of 60 minutes for the mover in moving and 30 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party, who shall be limited to a maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, in that order. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the Honorable member for Embu County, the Honorable Double End, to second this motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I second. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97, this House orders that each speech in debate on reports of audit committees be limited as follows: a maximum of 60 minutes for the mover in moving and 30 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority party, the leader of minority party, and who shall be limited to the maximum of 15 minutes each, and that priority be accorded to the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party in that order. The mood of the House that I put the question. Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in debate on reports of audit committees be limited as follows. A maximum of 60 minutes for the mover in moving, 30 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 10 minutes for any other member speaking, except the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party, who shall be limited to 15 minutes each. And that priority be accorded to the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party in that order. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 12, procedural motion, limitation of debate on other committee reports.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on other committee reports, including a report of a joint committee of the House of Parliament or any other report submitted to the House for which limitation of time has not been specified, shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 2.5 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including the leader of the majority party and the leader of the minority party and the chairperson of the relevant committee, if the committee report is not moved by the chairperson of the relevant committee. And that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply. And further, that priority in speaking shall be accorded to the leader of the majority party, the leader of the minority party, in that order. Honorable Speaker, again, being a procedural motion, I beg to move and I request the Honorable Cynthia Muge, the county women rep for Nandi, that has never been short of indomitable female leaders. This is the land of Chelagat, Mutai, and great leaders like the late Marie Seronei. And now we have a new lioness of Nandi County, the Honorable Cynthia Muge, to second.
Correction, Chelagat Mutai was Member of Parliament for Eldoret North, which was later held by the current sitting head of state. So she's from Uasin-Gishu County. You may proceed. Nevertheless, I acknowledge that Cynthia Muge is the lioness of Nandi County. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I think there's a new debate altogether. But Honorable Speaker, allow me to second this motion and put the record straight that I was the honorable member of the County Assembly for Chelagat Mutai, and I actually know her home, and I know the brother, who is the late John Mutai, the first man in Nandi County to be cremated, Honorable Speaker. So I'm legitimately not just a neighbor, but I was a member of a County Assembly for Chelagat Mutai, the great. So we carry the spirit of Chelagat Mutai.
Yes, I did. Please second.
Yeah, Honorable Speaker, I started with the most important business, which is I second the motion as moved by the Honorable Majority Leader. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable members, I now propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, this House orders that each speech in a debate on other committee reports, including the report of the Joint Committee of the Houses of Parliament or any other report submitted to the House for which limitation of time has not been specified, shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 2.5 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party and the chairperson of the relevant committee. If the committee report is not moved by the chairperson of the relevant committee, and that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and further, that priority in speaking shall be accorded to the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party in that order. I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97, one, this House orders that each speech in a debate on other committee reports, including a report of the Joint Committee of the Houses of Parliament, or any other report submitted to the House for which limitation of time has not been specified, shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 2.5 hours with not more than 20 minutes for the mover in moving and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, including the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party and the chairperson of the relevant committee. If the committee report is not moved by the chairperson of the relevant committee, and at 10 minutes before the expiry of the time of the mover, the mover shall be called upon to reply, and further, that the priority in speaking shall be accorded to the leader of majority party and the leader of minority party in that order. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. And Majority Leader, let me just also reconfirm this. Jan Mutai was a very senior employee in Shell Kenya. I was one of his first interns, and he was my chief campaigner in Uasin Gishu County. Their ancestral home may be Nandi County, but they chose to be elected and to vote in Uasin Gishu County. So that is still my claim to fame. Okay, can we move to the next motion? We shall carry that outside. Majority Leader, you shall be the moderator of this argument and debate. Thank you.
Order number 13, procedural motion, limitation of debate on the address by the President.
Honorable Speaker, on a light note, I doubt I will be a neutral arbiter in that battle between Uasin Gishu and Nandi County on who hails from where, whose ancestral land was where. Because, Honorable Speaker, I cannot be a neutral arbiter because my ancestral land is also in Nandi County. That is the land where my mother was born in Kipchamoti Estate in Nandi Hills. I therefore want to recuse myself from being an arbiter on that matter.
You are hereby duly disqualified.
I definitely cannot be a neutral arbiter in that matter. I have deep interest in Nandi County being my ancestral home, despite also having been elected in Kikuyu constituency in Kiambu County, in the Mount Kenya region. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that, noting that Standing Order 24.6 provides that debate on a motion on the address by the President shall be limited to not more than 4 sitting days, and pursuant to the of Standing Order 97.1, this House orders that debate on a motion on the address by His Excellency the President under Article 1A of the Constitution shall be limited a maximum of 30 minutes for the mover in moving, 20 minutes for the minority party, and 10 minutes each to the chairperson of the Department Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs to speak on the report submitted under Article 132, 1CI of the Constitution relating to the realization of the national values. The chairperson of the Department Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations to speak on the report submitted under Article 132, 1C3. Sorry, first article was 132C1, not I. And now a report submitted under Article 132C3 of the Constitution relating to the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic, and the chairperson of the Department Committee on Administration and Internal Security to speak on the report submitted under Article 240, Sub-Article 7 of the Constitution relating to the state of the security of the country, and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, and that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called to reply. And I beg to move and request my junior at the school and member for Kitutu Masaba, the Honorable Clive Ombane Gisairo to second, having gone to the school.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yeah, for those who are asking the school, there's only one school in Kenya, and that's Alliance High School. Honorable Speaker, I second.
You forgot to start with the title, The Alliance, as the Majority Leader constantly reminds us. Honorable members, I now propose the question that noting that Standing Order 24.6 provides a debate on a motion on the address of the President shall be limited to not more than 4 sitting days, and pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97.1, this House orders that the debate on a motion on the address by His Excellency the President under Article 132(1)(a) of the Constitution shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 30 minutes for the mover in moving, 20 minutes for the Leader of Majority Party, and 10 minutes each to the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs to speak on the report submitted under Article 132(1)(c)(i) of the Constitution relating to the realization of the national values, and the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Affairs to speak on the report submitted under Article 132(1)(c)(3) of the Constitution relating to the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya. And the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on the Administration and Internal Security to speak on the report submitted under Article 247 of the Constitution relating to the state of security of the country, and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, and that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply. Honorable members, I now put the question that noting that Standing Order 24.6 provides that the debate on a motion on the address of the President shall be limited to not more than 4 sitting days, and pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97.1, this House orders that the debate on a motion on the address by His Excellency the President under Article 132(1)(a) of the Constitution shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 30 minutes for the mover in moving, 20 minutes for the Leader of Minority Party, and 10 minutes each to the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs to speak on the reports submitted under Article 132(1)(c)(i) of the Constitution relating to the realization of national values. And then the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee of Defense, Intelligence, and Foreign Relations to speak on the report submitted under Article 132(1)(c)(3) of the Constitution relating to the progress made in fulfilling the international obligations of the Republic of Kenya. And the Chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security to speak on the report submitted under Article 247 of the Constitution relating to the state of the security of the country, and 5 minutes for any other member speaking, and that 10 minutes before the expiry of the time, the mover shall be called upon to reply. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 14, the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 50 of 2025, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Sexual Offences Act and for connected purposes. Order number 15, the Environmental Professionals Institute of Kenya Bill, National Assembly Bill number 36 of 2024, second reading, resumption of debate.
Who was the last person to speak? Did they have any minutes left? Okay, honorable members, because it's a new year, we can just remind you that it was moved by the Honorable George Gashagwa, and then then seconded by the Honorable Timothy Toroitich. And then after that, we had several people participate. So there was the chairperson of the committee, there was the Honorable Sane, the Honorable Irene Mayaka, and the Honorable Gishimo Gidinji. And I think he had no balance of time. So now this is open for debate. And we still have a balance of 2 hours, 58 minutes. So those members who want to participate in this debate, could you kindly press the intervention button so I can give you an opportunity? But before we proceed, allow me to recognize one of the schools that are our guests this morning. Honorable members, I wish to recognize the presence of the following school: ACK St. Michael Model School from Kajiado North Constituency, Kajiado County, who are seated in the public gallery. On behalf of the substantive speaker, the members of the National Assembly, and myself, we wish to welcome you to Parliament. Thank you. Okay, those members who are, okay, the Honorable James Nyikal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to support this bill, but with a bit of caution. Madam Speaker, the object of this bill is to establish an institute of environmental professionals, and as is in clause 4. But Madam Speaker, as we do that, and as that may be desirable, we have to realize that this is actually creation of a saga. And as we know, we are actually trying to reduce the number of sagas that we have that may require funding from the state coffers. Although in this one, there's also again the issue that they're actually not asking for any funding from that. All the same, that is actually an issue that we should look at. But again, if we then look at the issue of its funding, it seeks to state that the funding will actually, if you look at clause 37 of this bill, it is indicating that the funding will actually come from the activities of this institution, of this institute, and the activities basically will be licensing and regulation of professionals. But this will definitely have an impact on what they do. The environmental professionals are actually very important in our development. When you look at people who are setting up businesses, they're always required to have environmental impact assessment. If you look at development projects, it's all required that there must be environmental development, environmental impact assessment. So to a large extent, it's going to have an impact on many, many institutions that are being put in place. If they are not going to be from these projects, and that actually brings an issue that actually they may have higher costs that will affect this. But more so if you are talking of business people, particularly people who are starting small business institutions, small business plants, and if they are going to depend totally on the money that they collect from this, we may find ourselves that creating another deterrent to development of business, because this will actually be charged on those people who are trying to set up businesses. So we really have to be very careful about that. And we have seen in the past, even to take example in the health sector, which I know well, the issue of the levies that are put by these regulatory authorities actually become an important cost factor. And so that is something we should look at very, very carefully. The other issue, Madam Speaker, that I really need to speak about is the issue of training. And before they train these professionals, they have to be defined. Who is an environmental professional? And if you get into clause 2, you find a very broad definition, Madam Speaker. Environmental professional means a person who has successfully undertaken a degree course in the field of environment, natural resources, earth sciences, research. Madam Speaker, this is really a broad area, and all these people to actually put them to lump them together and then put a training program for them. If you look at the functions of the institute again in clause 4, G, you find that they'll develop and facilitate training programs. And if you look at all those areas, if you are going to have one training program, that will be very difficult. There'll be training programs in very many fields. If you look at the earth sciences, if you look at the natural sciences, I mean, that is basically whether you are talking of biology, you are talking of geography, you are talking of physics, and so on. So all those are one. So we may face a challenge in developing a program of their training. And how will this relate with the Commission of University Education? Again, we are finding ourselves currently that we are having some problems between the regulatory bodies and the Commission for University Education. And it does appear to me that already as we are starting this, we are actually having an areas where these conflicts will occur. So this is a good thing, and I think, Madam Speaker, it is something we should look at very carefully, and when we come to the committee of the whole House, when we'll be doing amendments, I think we need to look at it very deeply, because there are two areas, those two areas I've mentioned are going to be very important. How does this institute raise funds? And if people are charged, how does that affect development projects? Whether these are government development projects or whether these are business people trying to set up business projects. So will the cost be higher because these people are trying to raise funds? And then when you go to the issue of training, the definition is so broad that very many people will then call themselves these professionals. How will that training then be regulated? With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I do support, but we'll need to look at very serious amendments when we come to the committee of the whole House. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Kandui, Honourable John Makali.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also weigh in on this particular bill. First, let me congratulate the member who has brought this bill at this particular time. In bringing this particular bill, Madam Speaker, I need to make reference to Article 42 of the Constitution of Kenya that obliges each and every citizen, that entitles each and every citizen to a healthy environment which is protected both for the present and future generations. Article 42 obliges us to take legislative measures towards the achievement of this particular goal. And in Article 42, reference is made to Article 69 of our Constitution that ensures that we must take steps to ensure sustainable exploitation, utilization, and management and conservation of the environment and natural resources. Each and every year, Madam Speaker, our educational institutions, specifically our universities and our TVET colleges, churn out graduates in areas of environmental management, resource management, and natural resource exploitation. The last time, Madam Speaker, I checked, we have over 40 educational institutions that are churning out graduates each and every year who are trained in this particular field. The question is, as these people are being churned out into the job market, who is regulating their work. It is important, Madam Speaker, that this particular legislation seeks now to set up a legislative framework that will be able to supervise and control these professionals who are being churned out from our public universities and colleges towards the area of the environment. Madam Speaker, in most of these particular professions we have had quacks, people who are not licensed, people who are not qualified, acting and masquerading as professionals. This particular legislation seeks to bring in a regulatory framework. And Madam Speaker, the benefits of having a regulatory framework cannot be overemphasized. We will have quality work being done, supervision, licensing. And this is critical for the ordinary mwananchi who has to rely on experts to enable him participate in national building. Madam Speaker, I have looked at the Act, and the Act defines an environmental professional in a very broad terms. And like other speakers have said, during the period of the committee stage, we will need to relook at that particular definition of who is an environmental professional, because it's only limiting an environmental professional to somebody who has a degree. And we have our TVET institutions that are producing people who have diplomas and certificates in matters environment. We will need to look at that particular definition of who qualifies to be an environmental professional. Madam Speaker, when we look at section 19 of the Act, of the proposed, of this bill, it sets out cadres of membership. And it introduces a very critical class of membership known as corporate members. And when we look at the definition of an environmental professional, it means a person who has successfully undertaken a degree. It implies a natural person. But when you look at the provisions of section 19, it brings in a corporate membership, which Madam Speaker, will need to relook at when we will be looking at, when we will be in the committee of the whole House. Madam Speaker, it is important that we have this particular area regularized and ensure that there isn't any conflict with the existing legislation, because we have the Environment Management and Coordination Act, which has several provisions towards regulation of this professional environmental area. We will need, Madam Speaker, during the committee of the whole House, to relook so that we avoid any conflict with the existing legislation that will lead to duplicity in the terms of application of this particular proposed bill. Over and above all, Madam Speaker, the intention of the bill is honest. It seeks to enhance professional accountability and eliminate unqualified environmental practitioners. Madam Speaker, you realize that in the rural areas, if you have to do up a house, if you have to do any project, you have to get consent from the environmental authorities. Once we can have professionals in this particular area, Madam Speaker, we'll be able to straighten up the operations in our rural areas. And Madam Speaker, also, this bill seeks to strengthen environmental decision making. It sets up a council which will be able to, do international linkages. We are not an island. We need to do international linkages and have connectivity with our neighbors. So, Madam Speaker, the bill is well-intentioned. We will have better compliance with environmental issues and standards. We'll have stronger institutional capacity for sustainable development and protection of the public interests and constitutional right to a clean environment. With those remarks, Madam Speaker, I wish to support this bill and urge that we will, at the committee of the stage, will be proposing some amendments to fine-tune the bill alongside the other legislation which is in place, Madam Speaker. I support, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable George Murugara, member for Tharaka Nithi. But also members, I only see the only person left is Honorable Murugara. Kindly press the intervention button if you want to contribute to this debate. Proceed, Honorable Murugara.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also rise to support this bill. It's a very important bill by my namesake, Honorable George Gachagua of Ndaragwa. And especially because today, as we debate and talk about any matter in the country, environment always takes a center stage. We cannot do any plans for development. We cannot do any matters regarding improvement of physical areas without talking about environment. In this country, there are various laws. That is the Environmental Management and Coordination Act, which deals with how we have to deal with environment and all matters touching on our environment, including our forests, our water, and our marine life. Honorable Speaker, when we talk about environment, we include our climate, and this is why there is a big debate in the world today as we talk about climate change. This is purely environmental, and it must be borne in mind when we are discussing such a vital bill. We also have to talk about mining, because our minerals and petroleum products are part of our environment and environmental resources. Therefore, it is vitally important that we commit issues environment to an entity, to a body, to an institute like what is being proposed here, so that experts in environment can come under one roof, and when it comes to us Kenyans to enjoy services on matters environment, we know where to call. We can go to an institute and we shall get professional advice on who most suits to give advice on what is in issue. Of course, there are other laws, including the Physical Planning Act. We have the County Governments Act, and all these other laws that regulate matters environment. What is being proposed here is that just like the Human Resources Institute, which was actually formed the other day, the experts in environment too have to have their own self-regulating body, and therefore it joins the class of the Law Society of Kenya, the Architectural Association of Kenya, the Engineers Registration Board, and all these professionals that have a body that regulates them. So what would be the purpose of this body? Number one is to ensure that we are properly advised, we are properly guided in matters relating environment. We do not have to be taken around in circles. You've seen people coming over and they are telling us we are going to sell to you things called carbon credits, etc., etc. Some of which we really do not have the know-how. We do not have the knowledge of weighing and waiting to know whether these are viable projects or they are just people out to make money using us without our knowledge. Such an institute would actually be the first port of call. And the government, in regulating such entities coming into the country, would be getting advice from this body. Because most important, it will be there to render advisory services to the government and to Kenyans to ensure that we are well informed on matters environment. I therefore support this bill. We will look at it close by close in the committee of the whole house. If there are any necessary amendments that have to be made, we will be proposing this so that we come up with one of the best laws to govern a professional body that deals with the environment. Most important, the persons who will belong to this institute must be qualified persons. Persons we will term as professional experts in matters environment. Those remarks I beg to support.
Thank you, Honorable Murugara. Member for Marakwet East, Honorable David Bowen. Kangogo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support a bill by my good friend, the Honorable Fondarakwa. That is the Environmental Professional Institute of Kenya Bill, the National Assembly Bill number 36 of 2024. Madam Speaker, our environment is very important, both in our lives as human beings and also to the animals. And Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Honorable Kashagwa for this bill, which goes towards providing a legal framework and to professionalize the profession. Madam Speaker, we have seen there are so many individuals out there calling themselves professional environment field. No one knows their backgrounds. No one knows their education. And Madam Speaker, if this bill is approved by this House and passed, it's going to make sure that we have a competent people to manage our environment and environmental issues. Madam Speaker, the issue of environmental impact analysis is very critical in construction sector, especially in industry constructions. Madam Speaker, some years back, you saw what happened in Mombasa, in a place called the Owino Uhuru, or Uhuru Owino estate, somewhere in Mombasa, where a chemical industry, an industry which is manufacturing lead, was constructed, Madam Speaker, in an estate where people live. And it is not that there was no environmental impact analysis which was done in that industry. But years later, Madam Speaker, we saw people developing a serious, life-threatening diseases as a result of that industry. Because, Madam Speaker, probably you would find that the people who carried out the environmental impact analysis were not qualified. Or even if they were qualified, there were some elements, or there was need for a council or someone more above them who are able to analyze that actually what they did was good, and the industry or the factory which was supposed to come up from there was not only supporting the people in terms of livelihood employment, but also it was not emitting a poisonous substance to the environment. Madam Speaker, it is very important when we are doing a physical planning of a city, of a municipal council or everything, these people also, they are needed. We have seen, Madam Speaker, if you go around the Nairobi, the reason why we are crying about the pollution in Nairobi River, Madam Speaker, you will find that there are so many industries, there are factories who are actually disposing waste to the river. But at the same time, you are told that those factories, there was some environmental impact analysis which was done. And what happened? If it is truly that there were some people, some professional guys who did it, what came out of that report? And why is it that we are having a problem? So, Madam Speaker, this bill is going to streamline the environment or environmentalist professionals and to make sure that we eliminate quacks and have professionals in the field. Madam Speaker, in the field of mining, if you go to the parts of, say, West Pokot, Madam Speaker, the western part of those sides of Vihiga, people are mining haphazardly. The environmentalists, Madam Speaker, including the Taita Taveta from, I see my good friend looking at me, there is need to have those environmental impact analysis to say, after the mining, what remains to the environment? What is going to happen to the environment? Yes, the mining is good, but there must be a provision that this mining will not affect the environment, and even after the mining, there is need to restore the environment to the original position. So, Madam Speaker, this is a very important bill, and if you look at other professionals or other professions, Madam Speaker, the LSK, the Engineers Board of Kenya, the Nursing Council, the Clinical Council, all those bodies which have actually been are registered and, they have their professional body, they have had a legal and a policy framework. Madam Speaker, you can see that what they are doing and the work they are doing there is really very good. So, Madam Speaker, I want to say that and also ask all my colleagues that we support this bill, especially at this time when we have a serious environmental and climate issues around the globe. This bill is very important to help us and our people, and also to help in the environmental management, and also including the waste management, which has been also a problem, especially in our cities. Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, I want to support.
Before we proceed, allow me to recognize student guests in Parliament, in the National Assembly today. I wish to recognize the presence of the following school: Jonathan Gloward Academy from Langata constituency, Nairobi County, who are seated in the public gallery. And on behalf of the National Assembly, I shall call upon the Honorable Member for Wundanyi, Honorable Mwashoko, to welcome them on our behalf.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to welcome students and pupils from Jonathan Gloward Academy.
And to the students, when you're recognized, you should actually rise in acknowledgement. So you can do that, and then you just rise. Yes. And Sergeant at Arms, make sure you always give them a brief. You now may be seated. We'll allow the Honorable Member to welcome you.
And thank you again, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. Today I'm privileged that you've given me a chance to welcome these learners from JGA, Jonathan Gloward Academy, who are coming to visit Parliament for the first time. Honorable Speaker, I am also pleased to inform you that I'm also a parent in the same school. My son, Benaya Mwashako, is one of the learners who is sitting at the public gallery. Honorable Speaker, JGA, just maybe to give you a brief, is a school that combines, in fact, it was started to educate learners from the children homes, students that and peoples that did not have did not have anyone to support them. So JGA started in that manner, and it combined then with students that would pay school fees, so that then those that are from not very able families can be able to be supported by those that could pay fees. Honorable Speaker, I know they are one of a very good teacher called Teacher Ken, among others, and they're here, Honorable Speaker, to just see and observe what happens in Parliament. But I want to say to the learners that we're excited to have you here. So feel welcome, feel part and parcel of this August House. You are the future of this country. I know a number of you may be yearning to become leaders, to become president, to become governors, to become members of Parliament. You are in school today, but you'll not remain in school forever. In the near future, 10, 15, 20 years from now, some of you will find yourself in this house. So I want to take this opportunity to encourage you to be serious with your studies, be good children. You know, I know you have been, JGA brings up kids that with values that, believe in God, and patriotic children that love their country. So love your country, love God, love, of course, respect your adults, respect your parents, respect your teachers, and above all, just know that your tomorrow must be better than today. You remain good, disciplined students, and remain good people. And we would, in the near future, you'll be the leaders of this country. Honorable Speaker, as I sit, we as leaders today, we have a duty to pass laws and policies in this House that respects the constitutional principle of intergenerational equity, so that as we exit the stage, these children should find Kenya as stable and solid as we found it. So we have a duty to make sure that we pass everything that we pass in this House. In everything we do, we must leave this country better for these children and these students, and every other child that will be born in this country will be proud that their fathers, their grandparents were able to anchor this country on stability and in a manner that we defeat what we call tribalism. We must have one country, we must have one patriotic people, and we must, all of us, love to have one indivisible country. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Honorable Member, for welcoming the guests on our behalf. And now I can see the Honorable, I'd seen the Honorable Edith Nyenze had a member for Kitui West. You wanted to contribute to this debate?
Not really, Madam, but,
okay.
But let me just take this opportunity to welcome the students and say that your MP has really put it very well. I wish you all the best in life, and we love you, and we are concerned about your welfare. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Nyenze. And the Honorable Member for Tinderet, did you want to contribute? Proceed.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to contribute this bill on the Environmental Protection Institute of Kenya bill, and this is a very important bill, Madam Speaker, on the following basis. That one, like all other bills that guide and develop professionalism in a country, the Kenya Professional Institute of the Environmental Professional Institute of Kenya is very important. If you look at the engineer's professional bill or the Institute of Surveyors bill, and all the bills that guide and give directions on professionalism, on good governance, on good management, and the development of a profession, this bill is very important. Madam Speaker, I want to thank Honorable Gachagua for giving us a very good bill. In this bill, he has indicated what, in clauses 3 to 17, the Environmental Professional Institute of Kenya gives is actually going to be a corporate body. The body that is going to register, regulate, and exercise general supervision and control over professional developments and practice of registered environmentalists in Kenya. Every other time, we've had a number of what we call a professional impact assessment, or what we call environment impact assessment done by professionals, yet the outcome of it is very disastrous in this country. Yet an environmentalist of high standing, of repute, appended his signature or her signature, and when you go through what is going to come out of it, lives will be lost in terms of waste disposal, in terms of the impact is quite huge for the country. It is through this bill that the professionals are now going to be brought to book. It is through this bill that the professionals will be held accountable. And in fact, they can be deregistered, they can be penalized, and they can even be removed from the role of professionals as environmentalists. Madam Speaker, the issue of research is very important in any society. And research and development is key in development or in the growth of any professions and professional groups in a country. That the Institute is going to develop an arm in research on earth sciences, on environmental issues, and more importantly, on even accrediting and regulating the membership of the professionals. In fact, they have categorized professionals into various groups: fellows of the Institute, honorary members, and even members who have done quite commendable work within the society. In fact, Madam Speaker, I want to say that the bill is actually out there, and it is something that is going to talk about the climate change. These are issues that what we are facing today as a country and the world is the issue of climate change. I think most of our world leaders have been attending to World Climate Summits. And one of the problems that we are facing today is the mistakes that were done by not taking keen interest in what the professionals have been saying about the environment. Mining in this country and even coming up with buildings along riverbanks, not taking into consideration our water catchment areas, more importantly the swamp and all those other issues, has actually caused what we call the warming up of the climate. The emissions that we get today, all these are as a result of advices that were given, but some professionals even decided to side with mining companies where they are now trying to pour waste into the waters, bring diseases among communities, and this particular body is going to regulate, register, and even deregister those kind of members. Lastly, honorable members, I want to say that as like other professions, I want to urge the member to note that issues concerning the environment be put, issues or penalties be really introduced into this particular bill. I've gone through the bill and realized that the Institute of Environmental Professionalists have not come out with very good penalties given to those who are giving us wrong professional advice, and more importantly, what they are going to do to make sure that those who have actually committed crimes in advising institutions, in advising government on environmental impact assessment, they actually are taken into, they are penalized. On the last part is the issue of foreign affiliations. I've also seen that this particular bill needs to look into the issue of affiliating to international professional bodies. That speaks into issues of environment and, more importantly, on research and biodiversity, carbon markets. We need to speak into it. It is a new area where the industrialized and developed world are supposed to speak into the issue of carbon and carbon markets, which is now a very, very big area in terms of resources. But how do we, as developing countries who do not contribute a lot to the carbon emission, benefit a lot, because we are the ones actually who are the guardians of the environment and the universe. I thank you, and I thank the owner of the bill. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Chair. The Honorable Gladys Boss.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I must thank our colleague, Honorable Gachagua, for this bill, because it's very timely and very important. Actually, the entire environmental and ecological future of our country depends on regulating the professionals who give the environmental impact assessments. Currently, just in Nairobi is a ticking time bomb. already too many boreholes within the limited radius have been approved because the environmental impact assessment cleared it. And now we are informed reliably, and there's been many articles about it, that Nairobi will soon sink because there's a borehole underneath every tall building. Yet you're supposed to have a borehole within a certain area, and that radius should be able to use the same borehole. We also have seen what has happened. And particularly, casing example is Kilimani area and Parklands area. Buildings have been approved for construction up to 22 stories high, but the same sewer system is still being used. So you've increased the population and the buildings in the area by 1,000 times. Yet the road remains the same, the sewer system remains the same. There is no drainage that has been built. So even where the physical planning department of the county hall has had the environmental impact assessment should have picked it out so that it can prevent other people from clearing it. But if they say there is no environmental impact, or they give a positive report, then such buildings are cleared that are going to destroy our city. When you look at also what has happened, and I'm just giving the example of Nairobi, where, again, buildings have been built next onto the riparian zone. So what does that happen? When you see that in some parts of Nairobi, when it rains, and we saw it recently, when there is even rain upstream, you will see that by the time it gets downstream, it floods because nature will always fight back. The water will reclaim its space. Hence the reason why we had floods. We saw that some buildings that had been in the last year that had been put up, and they were clearly in a low-lying area that were not supposed to be approved for construction. Those houses were flooded. People lost their money. Some have taken 30-year-long mortgages to buy those houses, and they lost everything. And when you go back, it is the professional in environmental management that failed. But that is why it's important to regulate them. So that as a professional, they must belong to a professional body. They will be capable of disciplinary action by the professional body. They will be capable of being deregistered should they approve a building or construction or any item or clearances for development that is actually wrong and dangerous to our environment. It's also important for them to be in a professional body, because as a professional body, they will be required, as a professional registering in your professional body, you'll be required to take professional indemnity insurance, so that should you cause damage to your client or an account of your professional opinion, then there is a way of compensating those people who have suffered on account of your clearances. It's also important so that the more mistakes you make and the more cases against you, your insurance will become so high that you will not be capable of being a professional in that sense. I know that some of the members in this debate have raised the issue and said, how will it be funded? It's simple. When you belong to a professional body, you pay annual fees and you pay your license fees. That money is what will run the professional body. No government money has to be put into it. It's the same for Law Society of Kenya. It's the same for many other professions, the medical board, and so on. And therefore, this is a very timely bill. It is very, very urgent, and it is important that we begin to look at this. Even as professionals, they can be tasked as part of the bill. We should put in regulations that they actually should advise the government and the county governments during developments to advise, including the Ministry of Roads, when they are undertaking construction or infrastructure development. For example, we have the long-standing problem that we say that people have markets right at the roadside, or people are setting up directly at the roadside. We have buildings directly at the roadside. If we look at any other organized country, what happens is people exit the main road, and there is an area that is designated for putting up a shopping center. But it can't be along the entire road because it poses danger to members of the public. It also negates the purpose of having a highway if you are going to have bumps every short place. And therefore, we want to make sure that all professionals involved in any form of development, be it those in environmental management, civil engineers, and so on, also amend their laws. I know that civil engineers, electrical engineers, and so on have their professional bodies. But we also need to make amendments to the laws governing that professional body so that there is serious personal consequences on each professional when they give poor professional advice. And with that, I like to say that I will support this bill, and it's timely. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Paul Murigi, member for Igembe South.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, also I rise to support this bill and thank my friend Honorable Gachagua for coming up with this good bill, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it has taken many years for this country to realize such institution, since currently there is no institution which regulates matters environment. But through this proposed bill, Madam Speaker, it will bring sanity in our environment, Madam Speaker. Of late, we have seen many things which are happening across the country, whereby some projects are undertaken, but those projects, because of lack of professionalism, Madam Speaker, those projects end up failing. So this bill, Madam Speaker, will bring sanity in the environment sector, whereby it will regulate the professionality or professionalism of the environment and the standard, Madam Speaker, whereby the qualified professionals, Madam Speaker, will be licensed as required by the law. And if there is any malpractice, Madam Speaker, there will be a body which can follow up, Madam Speaker, those irregularities, Madam Speaker. Also, it will beef up the confidence of the investors, Madam Speaker. Because currently, when the investor come to do investment in this country, they are not aware if maybe it is mining or maybe construction somewhere. They are not aware which body would they rely on. Or if something happens, Madam Speaker, they don't know where to run to. But currently, after the passing of this bill, the investors will be confident with with the sector of environment, Madam Speaker. Also, it will help to protect the interest of the community. Since, for example, Madam Speaker, you will get some investors or NGO selling carbon credit, Madam Speaker, without the awareness of the community. So through this institution, it will regulate who will be doing that work and how it will be done so that the community can get the benefit of the environment. Since the communities, Madam Speaker, some crooks are relying on the trees which are planted by the community through selling of the carbon credit because they know There is nobody which is regulating this sector, Madam Speaker. Also, after the setup of this institution, it will complement the current existing institution, Madam Speaker, that is NEMA, whereby these two sectors, if they collaborate and work together, they will bring light on the environment of this republic, Madam Speaker. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to support this bill. I urge my fellow colleagues to support this bill so that we can bring sanity on the environment of the republic. Thank you.
Thank you. The Honorable Leo Wamudende. And before you speak, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome our guests seated in the public gallery this morning. We have students from Ikuu Girls High School, Chuka Igamba Ng'ombe constituency, Tharaka Nithi County. You are welcome to the National Assembly to continue observing proceedings of the House. Leo Wamudende also takes the opportunity to welcome students. I think that is also part of your region. Please try to trace Mheshimiwa. And tomorrow, make sure that you bring your card.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I'll make sure I'll have my card tomorrow. I take this opportunity to welcome the students. As leaders today, we recognize your role as leaders for tomorrow, and you making steps towards coming here to observe us as we make laws, important laws that will guide your future. We take that as an indication that you are ready to be leaders, not just tomorrow, but even today, even at your school. So welcome, students. So, Madam Speaker, thanks again for this opportunity as I rise to support this bill, a very important bill, and I must thank my colleague, Honorable George, for introducing this bill. Environmental specialists or professionals play a very key role in Kenya and in the world, especially at this time when we are faced with various environmental challenges, including global warming, loss of species, biodiversity. So we need this institute to regulate professionals to ensure that any technical advice they give, any assessments they give are not only accurate but correct and ensures accountability. This bill is long overdue. It's actually quite timely, and I urge my colleagues to support this bill because environmental professionals play a key role, especially being that they are at an intersection between even public safety and policy as well. So when we have professionals that are regulated by a body that ensures anytime you go for licensing, you are even required to do courses that ensure professional development because the world is changing, the world is dynamic, technologies are changing, interventions and policies are changing. That will ensure we are protected as citizens. We also ensure that the professionals, as they do their work, these environment professionals have actually, they are faced with many issues of conflict of interest because you have a professional who is supposed to make a report for a client, which actually may, the report may promote harming of the public. We need to ensure that the professionals are guided by a code of conduct so that any professional who signs a report that later leads to damage the environment or hinders public safety, they are held to account. I also support this bill because most professionals today, including medical doctors, engineers, lawyers, accountants, they all have regulatory bodies, and for environmental scientists and professionals who play a really key role in our country, To have no institute regulating their licensing is actually a big gap, and therefore I support this bill and urge members to support the bill to ensure that we protect the future of this nation. And being a member from an area that has a lot of sand harvesting, we actually need these professionals so that we know when to start, when to stop, because again, we have issues like sand harvesting, which are an economic booster to our people, but also harming the environment, causing soil erosion, degradation of rivers. So when these professionals give us advice at the local level, we know when to stop, when to start again, and ensure that we protect the environment. So I support this bill, and I urge members also to support and ensure it's passed so that we regulate professionals in this very important sector in our economy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Wamudhende, 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 Wamudhende. Honorable members, I do not see any further interest in this. Member for Nandi? I guess that will be the last on this. So, Member for Nandi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this bill that has been brought to this Honorable House by the Honorable George. And Honorable George, we want to appreciate your proactiveness in regards to managing and actually being able to control, properly manage the professionals. Honorable Speaker, it would have been a very great injustice, being a physical planner by profession, not to be able to speak to this matter. And Honorable Speaker, the matters environment are matters that we live with every day. They are matters that affect us every step of the way. And Honorable Speaker, I was comparing what environmental assessment and even protection of the environment in regards to physical planning, which is exactly what happens every time that we want to touch issues to do with the environment. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the two items, physical planning is more proactive, and environmental assessment and actually trying to conserve the environment is a reactive action. And Honorable Speaker, if you asked me today, I would be holding this particular view that if we did physical planning properly because it's proactive, we will definitely be able to protect the environment without having to go through a lot of trouble. And I want to appreciate this, Honorable Speaker, because for the longest time we have had a lot of issues regarding developments that we really so want to have them done in this country and even the world over. But at the center of it, Honorable Speaker, there's always the environmental aspect of it. And this is a very important aspect of everything that we do in this life, Honorable Speaker. And I want to appreciate the Honorable George, because this bill, if you look at it, Honorable Speaker, it has been able to speak to so many issues and matters that has been conflicting all the time, Honorable Speaker. I am, however, worried, Honorable Speaker, because if you look at the things that this bill is looking at, and you look at the provisions that are given by NEMA and the regulations that are actually regulating the environmental matters in this country, you see a bit of similarities on them. And Honorable Speaker, I will be very keen to be able to sit through the committee of the whole while this bill is being prosecuted, because, Honorable Speaker, this is an opportunity as a country for us to get it right, for us to be able to bail the cats in the names of the professionals, Honorable Speaker, so that as we do any approvals, whether it is being done by the county government or by the national government, because, Honorable Speaker, the physical planning function has been divided according to the two levels of government, the national and the county government. And, Honorable Speaker, this bill gives us a perfect opportunity to be able to bail the cat, so that if there is a cat, Honorable Speaker, that makes a mistake in terms of the things that will impact the environment, we are able to then recognize them. We are able to then be able to give a proper punishment, because it is our business, Honorable Speaker, that as we develop our country infrastructurally and every other aspect of the development that we so want as a country, we must be cognizant of the fact that the environment must be protected every step of the way. So, Honorable Speaker, I must say that as a physical planner, we're sitting in this house, it will be of interest to me to be able to go through the committee of the whole, so that we have a bill that will be for posterity, Honorable Speaker, that will live beyond us and will help us protect the sanity of the professionalism and finally protect the environment, even as we do the developments that we need to do as a country. I support this bill, Honorable Speaker, and I appreciate the Honorable Member George for having thought about it and brought it to this floor of the House for debate. I support.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Member for Nandi County. Honorable members, I do not see any further interest in this, so I'd like to call upon the mover to reply. Honorable Gachagua.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And from the onset, I want to appreciate and thank all those members who came out to support this bill. It is such an important bill, and I'm quite impressed that members are quite aware of what has not been happening in the field of environment. Madam Speaker, I was quite happy to note that most members can see the gap that has been there on matters environment. And even our Honorable Deputy Speaker, I could see that she was aware of how zoning has not been observed in a town like, city like Nairobi. Mostly the boreholes that are being sunk without observing the law. And the buildings that are coming up, say in Kilimani and such areas, without regard of the utilities, without regard of the planned infrastructure. Madam Speaker, Madam Speaker, we make sure that we have included all that, and especially this issue of deregistering those professionals who give poor advice. I have heard members suggest that there should be some consequences of those members who come up with reports that don't measure up to the environmental standards. Madam Speaker, we can also handle that issue of, that was raised by Honorable Nikal about the institute drawing money from the government. I would like to put it clear that this is not a saga. This is a professional body, just like LSK. And they will be self-regulating themselves. And, Madam Speaker, I want to put it clear that this organization has been there for the last 11 years. It is only that it had not been recognized by law. Madam Speaker, Honorable Cynthia noted something that is very, very, very important, and I don't know where that during the Committee of the Whole House, it will be an opportunity to get it right, matters environment, and to come up with a bill for posterity, and to right what has been wrong all along. Madam Speaker, I wish to repeat and again, those members who have shown that they have been aware that things were not right, and Honorable Kagogo have really reiterated that this professional body will bring about competent people handling matters environment. And he has cited some projects that have gone wrong, Madam Speaker, and especially in that estate in Mombasa, something Owino estate, where a company was handling lead, and there came a tragedy out of it. Madam Speaker, if good professional body personnel had carried out the EIAs, I believe that such occurrences could not have occurred. And it's a high time that we streamlined the environmental professional and avoid quacks, Madam Speaker. This professional body, there exists such bodies in other countries. We have countries like US and UK. In UK, we have Society for Environment. In USA, we have National Association of Environmental Professionals. In South Africa, we have Environmental Assessment Practitioners Association of South Africa. and even in Nigeria, Canada, Argentina, Singapore, among others. And it's the high time that these professional bodies exchange ideas. And there are some emerging issues, Madam Speaker, that should be tackled by these environmentalists. We have issues like carbon credit. Kenyans are not yet aware of what transpires in carbon credit management. We have loss of biodiversity and disruption of biodiversity, loss of species, climate change. These issues will be well tackled if we have a professional body that is concerned about environment. Madam Speaker, this bill has well indicated, pointed out who is to be an environmentalist, because we have had people coming up with reports and appending their signatures to reports that eventually don't measure up to good reports. Madam Speaker, with this one, we'll make sure that the body will make sure that whoever is practicing environmental studies and reports is a bona fide environmentalist. So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the members who participated.
What is out of order, member, the new member for Malava? David Ndako. You have hit the intervention button. The member for, is there anything out of order? You may stand. Okay, please give him the mic.
Madam Speaker, I was just trying to check on the functioning of this to adult.
That is allowed.
Okay.
Being a new member, that is allowed. Kindly conclude.
So thank you.
But when you hit the intervention button, the speaker assumes that there is something out of order. So I think it is important, as you learn, to know that pressing that button means that you have an intervention. Thank you. You may proceed.
So thank you, Madam Speaker. And I would like to once again thank the members who participated. And Madam Speaker, I beg to reply. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. I now put the question that the Environmental Professionals Institute of Kenya Bill, National Assembly Bill number 36 of 2024, be now read a second time. Will as many as have that opinion say aye? Will as many as have a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
A bill for an act of parliament to provide for the establishment of the Environmental Professionals Institute of Kenya, to provide for the registration, licensing, and regulation of the standards and practice of environmental professionals and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 16, the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 78 of 2023, second reading.
The Honorable Doris Donya.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I beg to move the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill 2023, National Assembly number 78, to be read the second time. Honorable Speaker, the principal objective of the bill is to amend the Sexual Offences Act to amend the Cabinet Secretary responsible for legal affairs to promote public awareness on sexual offences, through nationwide education and information campaigns. Honorable Speaker, Section 2 of the Sexual Offences Act defines a sexual offence as an offence prescribed under the Act. These offences include rape, sexual assault, defilement, sexual harassment, among others. The National Policy for Prevention and Response to Gender-Based Violence defines gender-based violence as acts of gender-based violence that result in physical, sexual, or psychological harm or suffering. Therefore, sexual offenses are considered to be acts of gender-based violence, which are serious, far-reaching negative offenses, effects including psychological trauma, social stigmatization, infections, and unwanted pregnancies. Madam Speaker, why I'm having this bill on awareness and advocacy is because if we don't teach the masses or the public about these offenses, they will continue recurring, such that if they are given the knowledge on how they should carry themselves, we will have a safer society, Madam Speaker. For example, if we have more campaigns on sexual offenses, we will definitely teach on prevention, because if the law is spelled out clearly, many people might abide by it, hence making a safer society for our young girls, even the women. We will also, Madam Speaker, be encouraging the community to be up in response. When the community is aware of these offenses, when they hear of such acts, they will be the first ones in reporting these offenses. They can either report to the chiefs, to the police, or even to any administrator around, Madam Speaker. Lately, in our villages, we have the community health promoters. If this information, Madam Speaker, reaches out to the community health promoters, they will definitely be spreading the messages on the sexual offenses, hence reaching deeper into the villages. There's a time, Madam Speaker, where I'm so interested about the awareness. You find that sometimes when the girls are defiled, the first thing, Madam Speaker, the parents tell the girls is that please go and shower so that we go and see the doctor. Disadvantage of this, Madam Speaker, is when the girls, for example, anyone who has been defiled takes a shower, you definitely, Madam Speaker, interfere with the evidence. When you go to the hospital, you will be told, it seems everything is okay. But this, when we have no evidence, Madam Speaker, definitely there is no case. So when we have our children, the community, having sensitized on the, having this information, we will then offer justice, Madam Speaker, to the victims. We also, why I'm advocating in this bill on the awareness and advocacy, we have the bystanders intervention. These ones, there are those when they've heard of these, maybe you report, you are storing to someone, you are saying, oh, yesterday in this village, such and such a thing happened. These bystanders, when they know well and they are briefed about sexual offenses, they will definitely, Madam Speaker, maybe report the matter or talk about it, and in the process of talking about it, people will have known, and maybe somewhere a well-wisher can report this offense. There is victim blaming, Madam Speaker, in our society. You find, for example, when a girl has been defiled, they will start asking the victim. The victim is in pain, but the people surrounding, they will be asking the victim, first of all, explain to me what happened. The victim will say, I had gone maybe to the supermarket to buy something, and then I was defiled. Then the community will be harsh on asking, what time was it? The victim will say, oh, it was around 7 p.m. or even 8 p.m. The first instance, the victim will be told, but you are the problem. Why were you out late in the night? Okay, if it's not about the time, Madam Speaker, the victims will be asked, what were you wearing? Then the victim maybe will say, okay, maybe even before the victim explains what she was wearing, she will be asked, were you wearing a short skirt? Were you wearing a tight dress? Then the victim will be told, my friend, you are the reason as to why you were defiled, because you seduced or you looked more ready to be defiled. So such awareness, Madam Speaker, is what is in this bill. The victims must know their rights. There are those who are being, maybe by the uncles or even the parents who will say, you are not supposed to report. If you report, you are going to bring shame to yourself or bring shame to the community. So the victims in this bill, Madam Speaker, its main intent is that they should be aware, Madam Speaker, of their rights, and they should be encouraged at all times to report such matters. So, Madam Speaker, one of the challenges emerging from the implementation of gender-based violence-related laws, including the Sexual Offences Act, is lack of advocacy and public awareness, which, Madam Speaker, has made me to be brave enough and stand here and say, we should now start from advocacy and awareness. Therefore, the bill seeks to address this gap in law by mandating the responsible cabinet secretary to promote public awareness on sexual offenses through nationwide education and information campaigns. Madam Speaker, even during the assemblies happen maybe on Mondays or Fridays every week. During this time of the assemblies, Madam Speaker, learners can be taken through of all this so that they can be aware on how they can handle themselves. This will also help in curbing the ever-rising cases of sexual offenses and address the menace of gender-based violence. I remember during COVID, Madam Speaker, people didn't know on how to carry prevention measures. But when the Ministry of Health came out clearly and told people, be wearing masks, avoid being in congested places, there was a curfew which was placed at that particular time, and slowly the country adjusted to ways of ending COVID. Such awareness and advocacy, Madam Speaker, if it is done in schools, then definitely we will be dealing with the sexual offenses in the best way possible to curb more offenses. Madam Speaker, the bill further mandates the Cabinet Secretary, in consultation with the Cabinet Secretary responsible for education, to establish programs to safeguard, protect, and promote the right to education of victims of sexual offenses, including victims of teenage pregnancies. There are some schools, Madam Speaker, where they tell the girls, you are, for example, they were defiled and they are pregnant, or not even defilement, they engaged in early sex, the teachers will tell them, you are now a mother. Go home and take care of your child. But in the recent world, Madam Speaker, we have second chances to learners. If these girls are given hope that it is not your last time, you can always pursue what you wanted to be in future, with or without a child. It's not a full stop. It's not a comma. It is just that it's something which has happened, and the girls can always be encouraged to go back to school. And they should know that it is not a criminal offense, Madam Speaker, rather a mistake which can be corrected. And it's not encouraging the girls that now they have to get pregnant because there will always be a second chance. But this is to the victims. However, Madam Speaker, when it comes to victims of sexual violence, this right is often undermined by systemic issues such as stigma, fear of judgment, and lack of support services. There are so many people, Madam Speaker, who can be witnesses and say it was really horrible when such a thing happened to me. I didn't have anyone by my side to tell me what I was supposed to do, because maybe the nearest person who came near me told me that after being defiled and maybe you're pregnant, the best thing you should do is to do an abortion. So to address this issue and ensure continued access to education, the victims require specialized support in form of psychological and counseling to help victims cope up with the trauma and make it easy to continue with their education. Therefore, through the requirement of establishing programs by the Cabinet Secretary in the ministry responsible for education, the right to education of victims of sexual violence will be safeguarded. Madam Speaker, I beg to move and call upon Honorable Cynthia Muge to second the motion.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Sorry, to second the bill, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I rise to second this motion or bill, like the mover wants to call it. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say a few items while seconding this particular amendment bill. Honorable Speaker, as you can see, the Sexual Offences Act was passed in this House in the year 2006. And Honorable Speaker, like I have said before, time and again, that this country does not suffer from lack of very well articulated acts of parliament, Honorable Speaker. Because if you look at the history and if you look at the matters that actually affect issues to do with sexual offenses, we even have the Protection Against Domestic Violence Bill of 2015, Honorable Speaker. We also have the Prohibition of Female Genital Mutilation Act, Honorable Speaker, of 2011. We have the Children Act of 2022, Honorable Speaker, and we even have the Victim Protection Act of 2014. Honorable Speaker, with all these acts of parliament that have been signed, Honorable Speaker, into law, that are supposed to be guiding how to deal with those issues that are affecting the community at large, Honorable Speaker, you wonder why we still have issues. And to pay attention to this particular amendment, Honorable Speaker, of the bill of the Sexual Offences Act 2006, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Doris Donya, the member for Kisii, Honorable Speaker, has concerns about the low reporting rates of the sexual offences, Honorable Speaker. She has issues with the poor enforcement of these particular laws and policies that have been put in place. Honorable Speaker, she has a problem with victim blaming. Honorable Speaker, you ask yourself, why do we still handle victim blaming? That because you are raped, because you are defiled, we find a reason to actually to blame you for having been raped or defiled. Honorable Speaker, you wonder why we still do not have survivor-friendly centers in our counties and in our constituencies and in our wards and in our locations and even villages, Honorable Speaker. You wonder, Honorable Speaker, why we have all these acts of parliament totaling to more than 6 that are speaking close to the same matter. But, Honorable Speaker, we still lack knowledge on the rights that each and every Kenyan, each and every woman, each and every man in this country has, Honorable Speaker. We also wonder why we still have pathetic coordination between the police, between the health care facilities, and even the judiciary. You wonder why, Honorable Speaker. And the item that the Honorable Doris Donya is trying to address in this bill, Honorable Speaker, is why we have very good bills, why we have very good acts of parliament, why we have very good policies, but we cannot then see the results that are being that are coming out better because we have those bills. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, she's saying we must be able to create awareness and be able to come up with advocacy. And Honorable Speaker, I want to say that I support this with all my being, because, Honorable Speaker, if we get the advocacy, if we get the awareness of these items and these rights that the people have, that they should be knowing that they have, Honorable Speaker, then we might be able to then sort out the issues. Because, Honorable Speaker, if you go back at home, You find a little girl who has been defiled. The girl is 11 years old. The girl is 14 years old. And you find that after they have been defiled, Honorable Speaker, the mother, just like Honorable Doris Donya, or the father, or the guardian who is around there, asks them to take a shower, Honorable Speaker. As soon as you take the shower, Honorable Speaker, when you go to report and you tell the police officer that there is a situation, I have been defiled, this girl has been raped, whatever has happened, the first question they would ask you is, we need to be able to take a sample from you. And you go to the hospital. The next question that you ask at the hospital, Honorable Speaker, is, have you showered? And the answer is yes. As soon as your answer turns yes to showering, Honorable Speaker, the case starts becoming crippled. Why? Because they claim that we can then not get the evidence. Honorable Speaker, the reason why the mothers, the reason why the fathers, the reason why the guardians ask these children to be able to shower is because of victim shaming, is because of lack of knowledge, Honorable Speaker. And this particular amendment to this bill is going to finally give us a solution to this, so that every person who lives in this country, Honorable Speaker, can be able to know that when this happens to you, what is the next course of action? When this one is done to you, where do you go next? You get to know the do's and the don'ts when you are in a situation. And Honorable Speaker, I think if you're able to finally get the office of the Cabinet Secretary to be able to diligently handle this particular matter, then our community and our society will be properly aware of this, the next course of action when they are faced with a certain situation. So, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that I support this so that finally, Honorable Speaker, we can be able to have strengthened prosecution procedures so that we can be able to meet every requirement every step of the way, so that, Honorable Speaker, even those ones who are going on with defiling young children, you know, Honorable Speaker, you find a joke in the internet. Every time they see school girls, small girls, they are told, just open your eyes and look at that girl, but remember that the years that you will serve in jail is 30 years. That is the kind of awareness, Honorable Speaker, so that before you actually make the mistake, you actually defile or rape a girl or whatever you're doing, you must also know from start to end what awaits you in the future. So, Honorable Speaker, I support this amendment towards this bill, so that, Honorable Speaker, all the people, all the stakeholders, all the people that have different responsibilities in different sectors can be able to know what is expected of them, and even as a victim, you get to know what is expected of you. If we are able to do this, Honorable Speaker, we'll finally have a better way of implementing the very good acts of parliament that we have in this country, so that we can protect our people, protect our girls, protect our boys, protect the women and the men of this country, Honorable Speaker. With that, Honorable Speaker, I beg to second.
Just one moment, I'm getting my order paper. Honorable members, I now propose the question that the Sexual Offences Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 78 of 2023, be read a second time. The Honorable Member for Kitui Central, Honorable Nyamai. All members who are interested in contributing to this debate, kindly press the intervention button.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me start by congratulating the member for Kisii County for bringing this very important amendment to the Sexual Offences Act, CAP 63A, so that it can give the Cabinet Secretary an opportunity to ensure that Kenyans in all counties of this country, 47 counties, in all our sub-counties, and in all our locations and sub-locations, are aware that, that it is bad to rape, to attack, to 9 years, 10, 11, 12, 13 years. Honorable Speaker, something is wrong about our country now. And Honorable Speaker, as I start to support this motion, this bill, I would like to say that And I fully support this, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that GB and offended is not only happening to poor children, it is happening to the poor, to the rich, to the educated, to the uneducated, to the young, and to the old. And if, Honorable Speaker, one day we were courageous enough to say that anybody who has ever been sexually offended to make their way to the office of the DCC, and people are given an opportunity and told that it will be in confidence, Honorable Speaker, you will be surprised by the kind of people that will walk into that office. The reason as to why they do not do it is because some are ashamed to say that they have been assaulted. People are ashamed to say that they have been raped. But if this is put in the law, and the Cabinet Secretary is given the power, as the member of Kisii is saying, Donya, that let it go to all the areas of this country, let money be provided because it cannot be done without money, I believe that it can be done. Honorable Speaker, when you allowed me to go out to have tea, I sat with one of the members, I'll not mention his name, and I asked him whether he's aware of the Epstein files, that the matter that is being discussed all over the world. And he asked me, what are those files? And Honorable Speaker, I would like to say that for sure, we are not the only ones who are suffering GBV. And we are not the only women, or Kenyans are not the only women that have been assaulted. In the United States of America, in the UK, New York, in the best places, Honorable Speaker, Palm Beach, Florida, Little St. James Island, Great St. James Island, all those beautiful places of this world. That is where young women are being assaulted. And Honorable Speaker, as we speak about this locally, we need to know that we just lost a girl at the age of 41. And she was assaulted, raped, misused in the most prestigious and richest estate of the world. And she was never able to speak for herself. And she was traumatized, and she had no chance to speak until she committed suicide in April. To be precise, I think on the 25th of April, 2025, in Australia, having gone through sexual violence, rape, when she was only 17 years. Her name is Virginia. And it is happening in New York, it is happening in Mother, for the people that I represent. It is happening in New Mexico, it is happening in Ekanga. And it is time now we talk about it and give an opportunity to the Cabinet Secretary to be able to talk. Whether the Cabinet Secretary will be male or female, when they are enabled by the law, they'll be able to ensure that every county of this country, people are talking about gender-based violence, and that it is something that we should never tolerate in this country. Honorable Speaker, women should never be raped. Women should never be sexually assaulted. Women should never be defiled. Women should never be forced to have sex. And the worst part of all, Honorable Speaker, young children that we have faced, that we have seen. My most recent experience, Honorable Speaker, I got an opportunity to go and present food 2 weeks ago, and the chief of Kanziko told me that there is a girl that we should give food so that she can go home. And the girl she presented was 9 years old, who has been assaulted. And I asked him, what happened to this child? And he told me, this child was raped. And Honorable Speaker, I am sure as a woman, if you saw the way that girl was walking, you would have cried. What I did is that I called the county commander for Kitui, who is a woman, and I told her that by end of the next day, the person who had raped that girl should be arrested, and I would like to thank her because she made all the effort, and that person was arrested, and I hope that that little girl will get justice. What I wonder is, how will this girl grow? Having known her first experience of sex was by being forced into it by an adult, heavy man. Honorable Speaker, this is terrible, and it must be put in the law, and this House, Honorable Speaker, must appropriate money so that this matter is taken seriously. And I would like to encourage men in Kenya, and men in Africa, and men all over the world. It is better to just engage a woman. Talk to women. Do what is necessary. Do not go to young children who do not have a voice. Children who are 8, 9, 10, 11 years. Take responsibility. And please stop GBV in this country. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance to put my voice into this important matter raised by the member for Kisii.
Thank you. I now call upon the Honorable Member for Trans Nzoia, Honorable Sioi, then should be followed by Honorable Jerusha, Member for Nyamira, and then we'll come to Honorable Wamuratha in that order.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for
Call
giving
positive discrimination. Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this chance to contribute. I also stand to support the Honorable Member from Kisii for coming up with this bill. Madam Speaker, we have got so many gaps when it comes to sexual offenses. Madam Speaker, just as my colleague has just said here right now, there are so many times when a victim appears to the police station, and probably maybe you have changed, and it was just good that you changed because maybe the clothes you are putting on were already torn. But you are being told that you needed to come as you were, Madam Speaker. And this is so embarrassing because there is no way you can go to the police station with the clothes that are tattered just because you want to prove a point that actually your clothes were torn. So, Madam Speaker, I support this bill by Honorable Donya. And as I just want to remember, there is a clip that was moving around, I think 2-3 years ago from Bomet, where a girl was being raped by 7 boys, and that case did not go anywhere. And the reason was, as I was following up, I was told, Madam Speaker, that the lady did not come up to complain, but actually this is something that went viral, and I thought it was just good that action was taken against these victims, the perpetrators that were doing that. But unfortunately, it had to stop there because nobody picked up the case, Madam Speaker. I understand that when we have a murder case, usually it is now the state and the murderer. But when it comes to rape cases, it is upon the victim to report and decide if he's continuing with the case or the case is going to stop there, Madam Speaker. How I wish that we could change the law and take it upon the government that when somebody has been raped or assaulted or defiled, the case is taken by state so that it is upon them to follow up with the case and leave the victim free, so that we get in touch with these people, make sure that the perpetrators have been arraigned in court and even jailed for the cases that they do. Madam Speaker, it is so unfortunate that nowadays when someone has been arrested with a case of defilement or rape case, it is a case that is bailable. And these people are arraigned to court, they stay there for a few days, they are released from prison, they go out there and commit some more, they cause more harm than what we expected, Madam Speaker. We also need to come up with laws that will keep these people there because they are very dangerous to the community and to the society. Because most of the time when they come out, they again come and interfere with the evidences, or they come and speak to the victims, agree at home that they end this case. So we really need to be very tough on this thing and create awareness so that people don't feel victimized or stigmatized when they are the ones who have been raped, or maybe it is a case within the family. Because most of the time, people wouldn't wish to continue with such kind of cases just because they feel like they will be stigmatized as a family. So we need to create more awareness to the people. They should understand that it is not their making that they have been raped, but it is something that has happened which is wrong, and the
tarumbeta italia katika anga.